Hello YouTube, Elmas the Show here, and I have for you guys today a really good and really close OU Showdown replay. And I think I had this battle about a week ago, and I just kind of now remembered about it. But as I said, it's a really good battle, so if you guys do enjoy it, then make sure to hit the like button down below. And as for the question of the day, in your opinion, what takes more skill to play? Stall, balanced, or hyper offense? This is a question that I'm always interested to hear people's answer to, so please, by all means, let me know in the comment section below, what do you think takes more skill? But looking at my opponent's team, it seems to be a very balanced team, just because he has a offensive threat in Lopunny, Landorus, and Celebi potentially. Then he has a possible defensive Heatran and most likely defensive Zapdos, and then Manaphy could either be a defensive Calm Mind or offensive Tail Glow. Although as long as I have my Clefable and my Chansey, the Manaphy shouldn't be that big of an issue. However though, if I lose my Clefable and this does turn out to be Tail Glow offensive Manaphy late game, it could potentially sweep through my team, so I have to make sure to keep Clefable around for that. Celebi really shouldn't be that big of an issue, because even if it is a nasty plot variant, Chansey should be able to beat it one-on-one. If this Zapdos is sub-toxic, it could be a problem, but looking at his team, it may just be a defog variant. A Heatran, depending on what kind of set it is, will determine how I can deal with it. And then Lopunny and Landorus really shouldn't be that big of an issue, just because I have Hippowdon, and Hippowdon should be able to take these two one-on-one in most scenarios. So yeah, going into this battle, the only real thing I was worried about was Manaphy, and that's only if I lose my Clefable. So obviously I have to keep Clefable around in this match. So I'm going to be leading off with my Sableye, as he's going to be leading off with the Landorus. I'm going to go ahead and Mega Evolve, and predicting him to switch directly into Heatran, predicting me to go for the Will-O-Wisp. I'm actually going to go for the knockoff. Now if you're wondering why I have knockoff, it is because this is not the normal Calm Mind variant of Sableye. There is actually another variant of Sableye, shocking, I know, right? And that runs knockoff and foul play as opposed to Calm Mind and Dark Pulse. And just one more thing, I originally got this team from my boy Chris, aka Queen of Love This, so I take no credit for this team. But yeah, I do predict them to switch out to Heatran, predicting me to Will-O-Wisp. As I knock off the Air Balloon, the fact that he had Air Balloon has me thinking that he's more of an offensive variant of Heatran, which is good and bad. So I switch directly into my Tentacruel, knowing that I can take any move that this Heatran wants to go for, but I get really unlucky as he burns me with the Lava Plume. But it's not that big of an issue, seeing as I can just stay in and go for the Scald and get off a good amount of damage, because as you can see from my team, with him being offensive, he can burn anything else I want to bring in, and I really don't want anything on my team status, because that'll put me in a very bad scenario, because I actually do not carry Heal Bell on Chansey or Clefable. I know it's very odd, but Chris didn't want it. So if anything, my best move to go for was to just go straight for the Scald, knowing that I can live in Earth Power. But he makes a very nice play, knowing that I'll stay in and not switch out. He's actually going to go for the Stealth Rocks, which does kind of suck. But then again, looking at my team, Stealth Rocks really do not bother me. It's Spikes that I'm mainly concerned of, and he has no Pokemon on his team that can learn Spikes. So if he does get up Rocks and have them up for the remainder of this match, it's not really going to hinder me that badly. If anything, I will gladly risk him getting up Rocks and me knocking out his Heatran. As I make a bit of a dumb play and I go for the Rapid Spin, I probably should have just gone straight for the Scald. That honestly would have been my better play to do, after I already said that I didn't need Stealth Rocks. And then this turn is going to make another nice play, go for the Rocks, as I actually do predict that, and I Rapid Spin. And I probably should have switched directly into my Sableye the previous turn, just to ensure that I get up my Rocks on his field, but it's not that big of an issue. As he knocks out my Tentacruel, I then switch into my Clefable, and I double switch into my Sableye, predicting him to want to go for the Stealth Rocks, but he ends up going for the Flash Cannon, and unfortunately he does get the Spadef drop, which puts me in a very bad situation, because I wanted to bring in Sableye to be able to knock out this Heatran one-on-one. Even if he burned me with the Lava Plume, it really isn't that big of an issue, just because Sableye doesn't really prove too much purpose to me against his team, outside of maybe knocking off and burning Celebi to force him to switch out. So it would have been really good for me to switch in Sableye and try to knock out this Heatran, but in the end it's not that big of a deal. As I switch into my Clefable, he's going to go for the Lava Plume. Then I'm going to make an aggressive play and I'm going to go for the Focus Blast as he makes a nice play and goes for the Stealth Rocks, which, as I mentioned earlier, getting rid of his Heatran is more beneficial to me than him having rocks up on my side of the field. So the fact that he didn't go for Flash Cannon really saved me, because my Clefable didn't have to take any unnecessary damage as he went for rocks. And that was probably the worst play he could have done, because Clefable can actually sweep through his team. So he gets up his rocks. He is not going to bring in the Manaphy. Now, in most situations, I would be scared of this Manaphy. However, though, because he didn't get a burn with Lava Plume, he does not know that I am actually an unaware Clefable. So I'm going to go for the Calm Mind, predicting him to want to go for the Tail Glow. As he sets up the rain, he then goes for the Scald. Luckily, does not get the burn as I'm at +2 Spadef, +2 special attack. I'm in a very good situation as I go for the Moonlight. Yes, I know Moonlight only recovers 1/3 of your HP, or is it 1/3? Well, it's 25%. But in the end, I went for Moonlight on the off chance that he did want to go for the Scald, because I wanted to keep my Clefable at as much HP as possible to be able to take on the remainder of his team. So I go for the Moonlight. As he's going to go for the Scald, I'm fine with this. It's doing literally nothing to me, as Moonblast looks to be about an easy 2-hit KO, depending on whether or not I get the same roll. So he's going to go for a Scald, as I believe I do just end up going for another Moonblast. I believe this is actually the final turn of Rain as well, which is really great for me, because now I can Moonlight back up to full HP potentially, depending on what he wants to bring in. But he actually ends up bringing in the Landorus, which I'm able to take the Earthquake very well, as I'm going to be able to Moonlight back up to over 50%. So if it really comes down to it, I could Moonlight up to 100% HP, and then hit him with the Moonblast and then go from there. The only thing is, though, depending on if he gets a high or low damage roll with Earthquake will determine on if he's actually able to 2-hit KO my Clefable or not. As he goes for the Earthquake, he gets 47%. Now, the max damage that Earthquake can do to Clefable from Landorus is 47.7, but I think damage roll rounds down in Pokemon, at least that's what I've been told. So he literally just got absolute maximum damage right there with the Earthquake. So if he gets max damage again, he can knock out my Clefable. Luckily, though, I get lucky and he actually gets absolute min damage, which is 41%. I'm able to take the Earthquake and in return knock him out with the Moonblast. Now, as I mentioned from Team Preview, the main thing I needed my Clefable for was his Manaphy. I already beat Manaphy one-on-one, so I could have easily played more riskfully with Clefable than I normally would have been able to, which is why I left in my Clefable on his Landorus to beat it one-on-one, because so long as he has Landorus around, that gives him free Earthquakes, potential free knockoffs, and free momentum with U-turns. So I wanted to be aggressive against Landorus to be able to get rid of it and no longer have to worry about it, because with Manaphy gone, the use of my Clefable has really gone down. So he's going to bring in the Lopunny. At this point, I'm just going to leave in Clefable for Death Water, because it does get knocked out if I want to switch it back in by Stealth Rocks. So he's going to finish me off with the Frustration, as I can bring in my Hippowdon, as I mentioned. Well, I think I mentioned this, I'm not sure. But if he doesn't have Ice Punch, then this Lopunny can literally do nothing to me. So I'm going to take this opportunity just to get on my Stealth Rocks, as he turns out to have the Substitute. So this turn, fearing that he could go for the Ice Punch, I'm actually going to go for the Whirlwind, as he turns out to have the Drain Punch. So now I'm thinking he may not have Ice Punch, because he has Substitute, he has Drain Punch, and he has Frustration. Well, then again, there is a good possibility he does have the Ice Punch. But there's a chance he may not, because he could also have Baton Pass, because I know Sub-Baton Pass Lopunny was something that people were using early on in ORAS. So I Whirlwind him out into the Zapdos. I'm actually very terrified that this could be a Subtoxic variant. Luckily for me, though, he ends up going for the Defog, which automatically tells me, okay, he doesn't have Sub. He may still have Toxic, though. So what I'm going to do is actually switch into my Chansey, as he turns out to go for the Hidden Power Ice. So he has Roost, Defog, HP Ice, and his final move is Thunderbolt. Even though he didn't show me Roost, there's literally no reason to not run Roost on Zapdos. So I'm going to be able to get off a Toxic on the Zapdos, which is going to be very, very crucial to me later in this match, and being able to wear it down. As he brings in the Celebi, I pull a double switch into my Ferrothorn, I believe. Unfortunately, I can do nothing to the Celebi with my Ferrothorn, so I'm going to take this opportunity to switch into my Sableye, just wanting to go for the knockoff, I believe, because I want to be able to ensure that the Celebi cannot gain recovery every turn, allowing me to beat it easier one-on-one, as I end up going for the Will-O-Wisp. On the off chance that he wanted to Baton Pass into Lopunny for whatever reason, I could burn that, making it literally useless to him. As he gets up to +4, he's going to finish me off, but this is fine because I have Chansey, and even if the Celebi gets up to +6, there is literally nothing that I have to worry about coming from this Celebi. So I can easily stay in and just start spamming Seismic Tosses if I really wanted to. Plus, I can play around with him and go for Toxic here and there on the off chance that he does want to Baton Pass into Lopunny, because if you look at my team, Lopunny is a major problem. So I believe I just end up going for the Toxic this turn, predicting him to Baton Pass into Lopunny, as he actually Baton Passes into the Zapdos. Much like Celebi, Zapdos can do nothing to my Chansey. This is why Chansey is such a great mon in certain situations, because unless he switches into his Lopunny, which he really can't risk, because as I mentioned, if I Toxic it, then Lopunny is useless to him, and my Hippowdon can beat it easier one-on-one. As he ends up going for the Thunderbolt one more time, I'm going to go for the Soft Bolt, because I will be able to beat the Zapdos one-on-one. Then again, I really have to be careful on how I use my Seismic Tosses, because there's a chance he could stall me out of them, making this match a little bit harder for me to win. So he's going to keep roosting, thunderbolting, as I'm going to go for Soft Bolt, Seismic Tosses. And then this turn, he ends up getting a crit para with T-Bolt. Luckily though, he doesn't fully, I don't get fully paralyzed, sorry. And I'm going to be able to finish him off with the Toxic. As she brings in the Lopunny, I'm going to be forced to switch out. The reason why I brought in my Ferrothorn was because I didn't want to switch Hippowdon into a potential Ice Punch, as it turns out that he has the Power-Up Punch. Now this in itself is actually pretty scary, because a +2 attack Lopunny could actually win him the match right here, as he finishing me off with the Drain Punch. I'm guessing he didn't want to risk the Power-Up Punch not finishing me off, considering that the first one did 34%, so the second one might have done around 50%, which means I could have lived and gone for a possible Thunder Wave if I did carry it, and then I would have been able to beat this thing one-on-one with Hippowdon a lot easier, because Earthquake does 2 KO Lopunny. As I can bring in my Hippowdon, I'm really not worried about whatever he wants to go for, so I believe I do just end up going for the Earthquake, scouting out to see how much damage it would do. As it does 53%, I'm going to go for it again, and in hindsight, going straight for the Earthquake was actually a really bad play on my part, because he could have gone for a Drain Punch and got off enough damage to where he could gain HP to live another Earthquake, then finish me off with a second Drain Punch and then win with Lopunny. Luckily though, he ended up switching into his Celebi, which is really great. As I get on my Stealth Rocks, I don't really know why I did that. I'm guessing that I was probably thinking he would try to double back into his Lopunny, but on the off chance that he didn't, I just wanted to get up Rocks, because that extra little bit of damage may come into play later in the match. So I guess going for Rocks wasn't too bad of a play, although then again it probably wasn't the better play to do. Either way though, it's fine, as I can bring in my Chansey. He does end up going for the Nasty Plot, and much like earlier in the match, I'm just going to go straight for Toxic. I can play mind games with him again. I can Toxic, I can Soft Bolt, Seismic Toss, do whatever I want basically. So long as he doesn't Baton Pass and get a free switch into the Lopunny, I'm in a solid situation. So I'm actually going to end up spamming Seismic Tosses here, and then I'm going to go for a Soft Bolt this turn, I believe. And in hindsight, I probably should have actually gone for the Toxic. Then again though, I guess Soft Bolting was the better play, but I probably still would have been able to live the Giga Drain even if I didn't go for the Soft Bolt, so long as it didn't get max damage. As it brings in the Lopunny, I don't want to give him a free +1 with Power-Up Punch, so I switch directly into my Hippowdon. I'm going to be able to go for the Soft Bolt, not softball, but a slack off, bringing me back up to a good amount of HP, as I actually ended up going for the Earthquake instead, knowing that he's not a +1, he's not going to be able to beat my hit Phat on, and that is going to be the 2-0 victory in my favor. So yeah, that was a bit of a lengthy battle, but definitely a good one in my opinion. That low pony was actually pretty scary with power up punch, especially with me making that questionable play by going for 2 Earthquakes as opposed to going for a slack off after the first Earthquake. And just, yeah, in the end I still thought this was a really good match. I apologize if my narration was a little bit off, guys. It is pretty late right now, but hopefully y'all did enjoy, and if you did, then make sure to hit the like button down below. And with that being said, guys, I will see you all tomorrow, so later everybody.